Hello, and welcome to the Google Tour. What we're going to be talking about in this tour, we're going to be talking about goals 6, 7, and 8. This tour specifically will focus on goal number 6, which, if you remember from the Millennial Development Goals, was to combat HIV, AIDS, malaria, and other diseases. Um, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take you right on in. This is, of course, North America. We're actually going to take you down into Central America to the beautiful city of Honduras. So we're going to go ahead and fly right into the Toncontin International Airport located in Tegucigalpa, Honduras. As we come on in here, see it's a beautiful little airport here. It's got nothing much to see around it, but here's the wonderful city of Tegucigalpa. We'll get more into that later. But let me back you up a bit. We'll take you to the wide view of Honduras here. Honduras is a lovely country, beautiful countryside, lots of lush forests, but we'll get into forests later on in our next tour. So, in dealing with HIV, Honduras is actually where 60% of Central America's region HIV infections are reported. So 60% of Honduran citizens have HIV, which is definitely a very big problem. The first place I want to take you into is actually the capital of Honduras, Tegucigalpa, located just here in the south side. Tegucigalpa is actually reported one of the major cities to have the highest HIV rate. As you can see, it's a very urbanized city. Honduras as a country is the 20th second most poor country in Central America, and so but this is where those who can afford to live in Tegucigalpa live. They're the more well-off people, I guess, is what we'll say. But there's also a high case of prostitution in Tegucigalpa, which is one of the leading transmissions of HIV virus. It's a sexually transmitted disease, for those of you who don't know. It actually stands for human immunodeficiency virus. It causes a progressive failure in the immune system. So HIV itself is not what will kill you in the end. It is the other infections that go uncontested in the body that can be life-threatening because you don't have the immune system to fight them off. Example of this would be tuberculosis, and malaria is also very prevalent in Honduras. So I'll go ahead and take you to the second city here, also very urbanized city. It's San Pedro Sula, Honduras. As you can see, lots of people live in this one. Also, the second highest prostitution and crime rate is located within this region of Honduras. So, HIV and AIDS are sexually transmitted diseases that can be transferred through blood, breast milk, and transmitted by sexual means. I'm going to keep it PG here, but there is a lot of prostitution in this city as well. People just trying to make their way. It's a very poor country, like I said. Prostitution is a very high rate for prostitution in Honduras because of the poverty level of this country. Let's talk about what's being done, opportunities for Honduras to improve. We'll take you back here to Tegucigalpa. Several things have gone into combating HIV. There's been several non-governmental organizations that have worked in tandem with the government to stop the spread of diseases. They've been delivering antiviral drugs to over 3,000 citizens in the hope of combating this disease. Also, there's a long-term goal made by the president of Honduras. He was recently granted $13.7 million to implement their Honduras' long-term goal to provide care for high-risk citizens. So those citizens who may be in a situation where they need to combat this disease, like I said, prostitution and the like. So 7.98 million will go directly to combating HIV. The rest will go into preventing malaria and tuberculosis. So as you can see, there's a lot being done for Honduras. A lot of nonprofit organizations have gone actually into the country to see if we can't get this disease back or down and decrease it in the citizens of Honduras. So that's what we're doing in Honduras to stop the spread of diseases. And I hope you enjoyed this little tour. We'll see you back here when we talk about goal number 7.